In this episode, Ryan and I give a glimpse of what we'll talk about at the 2023 Nelson Nash Institute think tank. And since we can't help ourselves, we discussed related subjects along the way and had fun doing so. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Banking with Life podcast. I'm your host, James Neathery.
I'm your co-host, Ryan Griggs.
And it's been a minute. Mr. Griggs has been traveling the world, and welcome home, sir. I've missed you.
It always seems like it's been a minute, but it has. I mean, we're busy.
Well,
I mean, I don't know about you.
He's traveling. I'm working. You know, it's like,
we had holidays. Here we are, early January 23. Happy New Year. I guess we had a New Year's episode.
I did a New Year's episode, and let me tell you, you probably didn't even listen to it. There you go. Oh, he's telling on himself here. Okay, that's
in my
cool.
queue.
Yeah. Let me tell you what, Josh was here, and I didn't want to go long. And we kind of did a look back, and I'm like, Josh, looking back, and on the fly, he pulled up numbers, views, subscriptions, how many guests, have had, how many episodes, and then kind of looked a little bit forward, Wayne Jett's coming up, and Barry Dykes coming up. Those are beautiful conversations that I had. And I'm just saying that for me, when I walked away from that, it was like the next day, Ryan, I'm thinking it's like, man, that's awesome. I mean, who has 50 clients that will, come and share their personal experience?
I think the answer is literally nobody.
I mean, but that's right. And that's powerful, though, somebody to share. And it's like, if you can't resonate with some or all of them, there's something wrong with you. I mean, they're great salt of the earth people, And anyway, I enjoyed that,
Good.
New Year's episode. So thanks for mentioning it. And you have an opportunity to watch it. It's out there.
Yes. Plenty of opportunities.
Yeah.
And since it's January, we have the annual Nelson Nash Institute think tank coming up. Always happens in February. And we've been asked to speak again.
Yes. I'm excited. What you know what you're going to talk about?
I sure do.
Yeah. We're both actually talking on the same day, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm speaking after you.
Pour it on them.
Oh, my gosh. It's like it's going to be a hard act to follow. Nothing I'm going to act at all. I mean, I'm going to convey what I want to convey.
Yeah. And we're going to, there's some life insurance company representatives that'll have a chance to address the group. And we bookend them.
Oh, perfect. Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, it'll be good. So I thought one thing we could do today was we talked about beforehand is maybe touch on what we might talk about. Because we had the live event, the Banking with Life live event, first one back in October of 22. So maybe that material will feed into some degree. I mean, two different groups, right? Our clients versus the IBC practitioner membership.
Yeah, two different audiences.
Yeah. So what do you think? What'll be...
Well...
what do you intend to share? Give us some Cliff Note highlights.
Yeah. I believe that my talk is from the client-only event is ready, and it'll be going into client-only access before the think tank, I hope, which is, several weeks away. But what I am going to talk about at the think tank is going to be a modification of that. Because I think it's important. I know when I was, newly exposed to the idea that you could become your own banker and the infinite banking concept, conveying the idea that is somewhat difficult or can be challenging. And so what I've done in my talk, I've gone back to Nelson's work, not to replace, improve, critique him at all. But there's so much noise out there. I almost get tired of talking about it. And I'm just trying to touch Nelson's work and kind of bring what we do forward through the changes within the industry, the CSO changes, commissioner standard, ordinary table. Life expectancies changed, so the way they price life insurance has changed. And then we've had the 7702 change, which changes the some rates that life insurance companies must use to determine a modified endowment contract, which therefore changes the structure of policies previous to 2022.
Interest rates have come down.
Interest rates have been flat for 10 or 15 years. Now they're starting to come up. In the home office, the people in the home offices of these life insurance companies have little to no experience of this situation. Right. But look, you can't control them. Neither can you. Neither can I. Right. The Fed didn't call you and say, hey, Mr. Griggs, what do you think we ought to do? Right. So, we can't control that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to modify it, for agents.
What I liked in your talk, especially, of course, I always like everything you say when you talk, but.
Well, that's very flattering. Thank you.
Well, I think some people hear you. I just had this impression at prior think tanks or whenever it's, you're a unique character with the Southern drawl and all that. And then all the experience you bring. And I think some people hear it and they, discount it or something, or they don't. Sometimes I think there's just a lack of appreciation of the wisdom that's coming through.
Oh, I felt underappreciated many times in my life.
Well, and there's been times where I've kind of felt that way too, because the young guy, or he's using big words, or it's too analytical, so and so it's all discounted and set to the side, and it's like, so I don't know, I'm sensitive about that kind of thing.
Sure.
And I know it happens when, because look, like other agents in the business, let's just be clear about it, see your production record, and that's impressive to them. Like the numbers are impressive. And so there's like
can't see all mine.
There's like an and they don't even see everything. Right. And so there's like a superficial attraction based on that.
Ooh, superficial attraction. Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of like the core message and the nuance of the core message being the thing that draws people. Right. And
when the core message and application of the core message is what produces.
Yes, that's what's responsible for everything else. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just a derivative, in my opinion, of the work that is done.
Exactly.
And the benefit that the client enjoys.
Yeah. So I think that
no question.
A lot of the agents, but I think of this dinner we went to recently with the little guy who does the pension business.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
It was like fanboys but then you could tell like the language he was using, it's like, oh, he just doesn't, the IBC happens to be 3 letters that are together. It's like, there's nothing.
One more thing that I could put in my quiver as an arrow.
Yeah, another tool in the toolbox, arrow in the quiver.
And it's always got to be, I've done this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And which is, God bless you. Perfect. Good.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like setting the stage, it's a superficial appreciation. Excuse me. So I've got to build myself up for me so we can, which no.
It's 100%. And it's just hilarious to watch. But my point is that I think a lot of the time these little nuggets are missed in all of that. So like one thing you did in the talk was back in October, and maybe, I don't know if you're going to do something like this in February or not, but
I don't either. I don't even know what it is.
I know. But the part where it's towards the end, when you did examples of different people based on clients at different ages, you like reference some of their circumstances, where they were in the family, grandparents, parents, or kids or grandkids, structure of policies and premium amounts, and associated death benefit and cash values.
Proper. In my opinion.
But it was but you went through it quick is the one thing I was like.
I started talking slow, and I'm just sharing, I'm not giving excuses or anything, but, and I think we mentioned it before, but when we showed up at the venue, and the AV team had been there twice previously to the event, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the whole sound system, the house sound system didn't work.
It just there wasn't one. Yeah.
Because the previous, it was explained to us that the previous event holders, jacked with the soundboard. So that throws off, and we were on time. I mean, it was like we might have been a minute off the agenda, which it wasn't a regimented military agenda anyway, because we had plenty of time for attendees to get to know each other, and they have. As a matter of fact, I've had clients meet in Hawaii since then, and there's some clients in Hawaii and the clients stateside, and the stateside clients just took a vacation to Hawaii, and they send me a picture. Text me a picture of them together. Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm just saying it wasn't a militaristic agenda, right? But we were thrown off on the timing. So I start, and I know I talk slow. I get it, okay? And I was talking too slow. So when I realized that is when I got the cue card that I've got 10 or 15 minutes left. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I sped through that.
Yes.
The last part of it. Which was, in my opinion, the most powerful part.
It was like where everything was going, because it all led up to that. And
so if I was a better speaker, that wouldn't happen. So, but I'm a work in project. So I'm a project in work.
Work in progress.
I'm working on my progress. I am a work in progress. Okay, sorry.
But I mean, and just little things in that, like there's never one structure that's everywhere and always correct. That there's actually some thought and strategy that goes into the selection of the premium amount. Like the particular kind of company matters insofar as we're talking about flexibility in the PUA rider or catch-up provisions. Like all of those little things were baked into that. They may not have gotten like express articulated points, but that was all there. I mean, I could see all of that in there. And it's like, wow, I mean, you could spend another hour just going through that.
Yeah.
So I really like that. I mean,
thank you. Because I really, that talk or that, presentation could be developed out, because I got into retirement income, passive income, right? And I'm just throwing out numbers.
Yeah.
Right. But then comparatively, which I didn't go through the report of the 4% rule and the contrast is unbelievable. So if you understood what life insurance could do when it is structured properly, and you actually pay a premium legitimately, and not just use it to, seek a ROI on your next real estate deal, which I'm just saying that it serves you well now, and it serves you well for your whole life, the rest of your life, and then it's still a benefit to your people once you graduate.
There's just such a nice integrated logic to all of that.
Now, see, coming from a young man of your stature and education, that means something. So thank you.
I mean it. And because you compare to the other online marketing presentations, or especially the stuff that comes straight from the home office, where everything, like from the home offices of the life insurance companies, everything's a sales concept, right? And, if the IRS makes a modification to the IRS code, well, that's just a field day for the marketers, right? Because then they get to present this new sales concept based on
the year-end tax strategies.
Yeah, we're going to base our financial decisions off what the government does. Well, that's a plan for success right there, right? Okay, so that's home offices. They have their sales concepts. And then you got the online people who just have the goldfish attention span with the buzzwords, whether it's cash flow real estate, passive mailbox money, passive income, all the different. If there's technology involved, well, then we're really having a field day, right? So the crypto stuff, the coins, the tokens, the NFTs, the Airbnbs, the
short-term rentals.
Yeah, rental arbitrage, lease and then turn around and don't tell the landlord and then do the smaller. Yeah, it's like all that to me is just exhausting because it's not integrated. It's like little. It's like a marketing commodification. It's like a little piece of like scraps off the table. It's not substance. There's not more to it.
I love this because I have not heard his talk because it hadn't been given yet. But I have an idea of the outline.
Yeah.
So you're going to
I'm going to address some of that.
Address some of this to a room full of agents. You're probably not going to make a lot of friends, new friends anyway.
I might not. But the thing is, and I was thinking about this on the way over, it's like IBC is just deeper. Like the idea of capital, it's just beneath, it's just more fundamental in that sense. It's deeper. It's underneath all of these schemes and plans and drag and drop, copy paste financial ideas. I'm going to go online and someone's going to teach you a fun financial idea like that. All of that just bothers me. And it's also presumptive. It's like, how many doors do people really want to manage? How many toilets do you want to clean? I mean, how much do you want to rely on the real estate market for your passive cash flow late in life? I mean, how many people want to really truly become real estate investors? They just don't like the idea of it. I mean, I know there's real estate investors out there, God bless you, but I mean, the proportion of the marketing aimed at real estate versus everything else is disproportionate, to say the least.
Yes, yeah.
And to me, it's like we're jumping clean over the normal person who just wants to manage their money properly and to their benefit and their family's benefit. And IBC speaks to them. I mean, the people in Becoming Your Own Banker are buying cars and they're financing the equipment in their business.
And education.
Yeah, you got a grocery store example. I mean, basic mundane things. And it's like, this is out of left field, but I do yoga and
hot yoga,
and it's brutal.
Listen, the young man's lost do you mind?
Yeah, go for it.
He's got to go shop for new clothes. He's lost so much weight, like 40 plus pounds.
Yeah.
And not like in an unhealthy way.
No, yeah.
So good job. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hot yoga was part of that, is my point.
And one element of it is like straining in yoga. You'll tap halfway through. Like if you're like trying to muscle through things, you're out. I mean, you're not going to last.
Yeah.
You got to relax and resist less rather than try so hard. And that produces a favorable outcome. And it's like in these everybody's straining and falling over themselves to go find the next best financial get ahead quick, get rich quick, hack strategy on social media, when it's like, maybe that's not the way. Maybe the way is just to relax a bit and look in the mirror, examine what's going on in your financial circumstances already, and see, is there a way to optimize that? And to me, IBC sits in that framework. You've said it way early on. IBC puts jet engines on what you're already doing.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go out and do something new or fall into one of these creative social media marketing rabbit holes or become a digital marketer or solopreneur. I mean, if people do that, great. IBC can help them too, because everybody has the opportunity to take over control of the banking function. But
how many times do you hear that come out of a marketer's mouth? Who's controlling the banking function as it relates to you? Banking is. And the fact is, Americans have abdicated their responsibility to perform the banking function. So then the third party lenders, and I'm being generous when I use that word, they perform the banking function. And you know who the most profitable one in the whole deal is? The banker. Mm-hmm. It's like, so.
And that's why I get mad at economists who,
oh my gosh,
are the ones who should be telling the story. They're the ones who should be saying, or talking about what capital is, what the relationship between capital and opportunity in your life is. But all of that's I mean,
and it's so simple though. And then, I mean, it's so simple. I mean, I read a comment earlier where, not this one, but another one that's older. And the guy says something along the lines of, these salesmen, I mean, not talking about you or me, or you're talking about me. These salesmen, can't just, convey a simple, I mean, I'm being generous in my, iteration of his comment, which I'm going to address, but he's like, you just can't straightforward and say term is cheaper than whole life. You know what I mean? I mean, that was the essence of his comment. It's like, I don't want to talk about capital. I don't want to talk about banking. I don't want to talk about, any of that.
Just cut to the chase.
Yeah. Just how much is a death benefit costing you? It's like, oh my gosh, please move on. You're such a scholar, It's like, it's the same in the marketing world almost.
Yeah.
It's like, how many likes, subscriptions can you pay for to catch an algorithm? It changes all the time.
Right.
I mean, okay. And it's really like, capital attracts opportunity. That's backwards. Not any economist has ever in my life until Nelson Nash said that. Ever. Okay. Well, you know what? The truth also attracts truth seekers. You know what I mean? It's the truth either attracts or repels. So it's like, oh my gosh, I got to tell the truth.
Yeah. It reminds me.
It's a beautiful thing.
I've had this introductory call that went way over time. Oh, of course. And it's a certain kind of client, and some of y'all are watching this will describe you.
Uh-oh. Be gentle.
And it's all good. I get it. Lots of questions, which is fine. I like questions. He even said, I've been talking to some other people, and I've asked them these questions, and I just haven't liked the answers. And I said,
oh my gosh, I had the same comment,
Really?
Very same comment. I mean, yes.
We're not talking about the same person.
We're not. He's our next new client.
But
I'm just saying.
And he goes, so he's like, let me ask you. Okay. We end up talking for like an hour. And eventually it gets to things like internal rates of return and interest rates. And like, okay, just so we're wandering off the path here. And you can do that, and we can talk about these things. We can talk about why comparing dividend crediting scales to policy loan rates doesn't matter, apples to oranges comparison. We can talk about, how IBC isn't meant to be perfect. Life insurance companies aren't perfect. They're not going to solve for every possible future financial contingency. Some of these people, the Austrians, God bless them, they're my friends, the libertarian-minded, more people who are skeptical of, Federal Reserve, the commercial banks, which I include myself in that category. They, what if the government comes for whole life? What if from the tech? What if? And I'm like, yeah, what if Biden nukes LA? What if? There's always what if. Like, this isn't, we only get to choose from the options that we have available. We can't compare to perfection.
And the future's unknown.
And yeah, it's about is there a better way to manage, own, and operate the banking function as we're currently doing it? Like, not how do we match an ideal? How do we create the perfect financial? Well, it's not perfect, and we can have a joint complaint session about the nature of fiat currency and fractional reserve banking and business cycles, and I'm all there for all of that.
A joint complaint
session?
Yeah. I've attended many of them.
Great, yeah. Hours of life that we'll never get back, and there's just...
I did meet cool people there. I'm just...
Yeah, it's fun. I'm got a little over it myself. It's like we can sit there stewing.
Listen, he's traveled across the country to attend these things. Quit it.
I know.
And just spoke at a couple.
We can sit there and wallow in the problem or enjoy the solution.
Amen.
And so it's like, how long do we want to spend off in the wilderness?
Yeah.
Before we come back to address the problems. And it is the banking problem. We're making bankers money by relying on them for access to and control over capital. And that is the problem to solve. Really, it's a matter of, just like you say, if you don't understand the details, if you understand the details, concept doesn't matter. But if you don't understand
the concept, the details don't matter.
There you go.
If you do understand the concept, the details don't matter. The details are important because we're really kind of talking about your capital in there, but it's true.
But if you catch the IBC is more caught than it is taught. If you catch it, everything else is detailed, man. It's really a matter of what's the right premium number, what's the right structure, which company are we going to work with,
in the duration.
Yeah.
I had another call. Look, I had more than one call this week. Right. And talked to a lovely gentleman. He had a client, right? And previously, relatively new client. maybe 6 months. And he, scheduled a call, and he had a list of questions. And I, too, like questions, right? They're legitimate and they're honest, right? I don't like trivial gotcha kind of questions, right? Anyway, I wasn't really looking forward to the call because there were so many questions, right? But he's a client, and they were legitimate questions. And it was one of the best calls I've had in a while, right? Because he's got 5 or 6 designations, and he's I'm answering the questions, and it was about 2 weeks because it was through the holidays. He sent the email that we were able to talk, and then I had COVID. And so anyway, I'm just answering the questions, and we're just sharing, he's sharing his thought process, and this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm doing. And I was just, it's almost nirvana. I'm like, your thought process, your thinking, you're on a natural progression that only happens after you've paid premium. Yeah. Right. And then started, and he started the email with, I've had this policy, I love it. I've done this, and this. And so he's doing it. And it was just awesome because I'm like, listen, you have a natural, that's just you're on the natural progression of thinking. I said, but we're only like 3 months into it. And so you're a little bit, ahead, or it's kind of quick. And he goes, oh no, you don't understand, James. Let me, full disclosure, I read Nelson's book in 10 years ago. I said, oh, that makes all the sense in the world. And then his designations and his education prevented him, from implementing. And he's a gentleman my age, and it's just awesome. And he's just like, OMG, he's doing it. So
those are really the best. Those are like the most fulfilling kinds of conversations when someone comes and they have a certain idea, certain preconceptions, but they're open, and then you see the transformation. And then the change, not just like the transformation in the kinds of questions that are asked. And I can always tell when it's happening, in particular when people start asking about they wouldn't put it in these words, but how the timing and magnitude of future cash flows might affect their premium decisions today. Because it never starts there, right? It's, well, this is the income, or this is how much I spent. Yep. Current and past, kind of thinking like an accountant,
sure,
which is fine. God bless the accountants. But then
you need them.
There will be a point in client conversations I can often pinpoint when it happens where a switch flips and they start thinking like a banker, looking at future cash flows and how much can they depend upon them, how likely are they, what's the timing like, right? If there's government program money, for instance, how close is 59 and a half? When can we tap that money?
What happens when you retire and you don't have the income, and then you have the assets and the underwriting is, different, and
and you start to see it kind of fall together.
Yes. Oh. Yes. And it's like, so what oh my God, I don't think I paid enough premium. Like, well,
probably don't. And then on the other side of all that is, I see why I'd want to be able to pay a premium for as long as freaking possible.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We've had these conversations almost weekly, and we lay out, I'm telling you the future is unknown. For me to say that and for you to hear it, it's like, yeah, shut up, James. Of course it is. No, but just apply that. Think about that. Ruminate on that for a minute. And then what you do today, right? It's like, why would you want convertible term? It's not because the life insurance industry trains these young agents to go get the client with pennies on the dollar, pennies on premium, so you can sell them and convert them later. Right. Yeah. Which is an industry strategy. Just call, the low. Okay. Wait a minute. If you have obligations, if you're a family individual with a family, have dependents, or it's okay to be properly insured. Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, and things change in a sudden, in a heartbeat, in an instant. And then all of a sudden you're uninsurable.
Yeah.
Oh. So I was closer to being properly insured. And even though I'm not insurable, I can still expand my banking system if, my family chooses to do so. I'm just saying, it's not just trivial. Oh, the future is unknown. Of course it's true. Of course we all know that. I mean, it's like when it comes out of, my mouth, I mean, of course we all know that. Okay.
There's meaningful implications that are not immediately obvious.
And that's just one. That's just, one example that's happened recently. Okay. Anyway.
Well, and that the fact that there are material transformations in someone's strategic perspective, like what they thought, or even like the raw material of what they thought looks totally different on the other side of a proper strategic like advisory conversation.
Yes.
That is the value of having a competent advisor. I mean, I think you got the Chat GPT stuff, the online artificial intelligence, anything that involves like rote repeat tasks is going to be done by a computer in 5 years or whatever.
The gaming apps that are front running all their accounts.
Yeah, you're gonna quote the term stuff on the term insurance online, and
all the new ones that are not profitable and cannot be profitable.
Yeah, funny how that works out, huh? It's so efficient, but yet they can't turn a profit. Weird. And then you've got now there are people who you can request a 1090 illustration online and sign up and just get into your application and get no communication with an advisor at all, nothing strategic, no evaluation of principles or philosophy or objectives.
Well, we'll get to that after they say yes, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
This 1090, I love it. Yeah, okay. Can I get that going?
Speaking of, I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Oh, okay. Softball there, right?
Yeah, we'll get to it after they say yes.
Absolutely.
There is a relatively prominent, quote unquote, coach. And I think I told you about this.
Okay.
Among advisors. This happens. People should be aware this happens.
Okay.
The one advisor pays money to the advisor coach.
Oh my gosh. If you're in the financial industry, insurance agent, financial advisor, it's just like, you're the average all-American and you've got the real estate guru tracking you down. If you spend too much time looking at their, online social media presence, whatever, then you're targeted forever, Yeah. If you're in the financial services industry, and I know a lot of agents and advisors listen, thank you. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
And the same thing happens to them.
A gazillion coaches out there that if you'll just, separate yourself from your capital, they'll make sure you get a lot more capital in return. And I wonder why they're not out doing it.
Huh.
Are they licensed? Did they have a license that was revoked? I don't know. I'm asking a legitimate question. Are there some states that they can't do business in? Are there some companies that won't do business with them? And then they have to get their wife or their son or their sister or their brother licensed. Or they have to go set up an LLC, right? And then have non-licensed people, or maybe have a licensed person set up an LLC, and then because they can't get a license or don't have a license, they become a member of the LLC. You're talking about stuff like that?
I'm talking about stuff like that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I digress.
And at the end of all of that, I'm thinking one particular interaction, the individual who had employed the services of one of these advisor coaches.
Financial professional employed the service of I got you. Okay.
This individual had her friends that were going to become clients, and they're ready to deliver. An application has been done. Underwriting's been done. The policy's ready for delivery.
Ooh.
And the advisor coach tells the advisor, we'll design it during the free look period, after the policy is delivered, after the first premium is paid.
Are you serious?
I'm
during the free look. So the free look period, the premium is paid, the policy is issued, that exchange is done. right? Consideration, the premium is consideration. That contract is in force. But because it's life insurance, then every state has either 10, 20, or 30-day free look period where the consumer who just purchased and entered into a life insurance contract and just paid the premium has a time period to change their mind. This is a free look period, right? And so it's every state is different. Most are 30, some are 20, and there's a couple that are 10. You should know what that is. If you're a consumer, you should know what your state is, and your professional will tell you what it is, right? Okay. During that free look period where the consumer can say, you know what, I've changed my mind for any reason whatsoever. I want my premium back. The premium is returned, and it's as if an application was never made. During this 10, 20, or 30-day period, you're telling me that's when they're going to design the policy.
That's how this went. Yeah.
How easy is it to get an insurance license? You're kidding. You're seriously kidding.
I'm not kidding. I'll tell you the name of the afterwards.
I don't know that I want to know. Do I know them?
You know of them.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But this is the kind of thing that goes on out there
oh my gosh.
So it's exhausting. And none of, controlling the banking function, never part of the controlling the banking function was
there any I'm sorry, but was there any education to the consumer on just the mechanics or characteristics of the life insurance contract that they're even purchasing?
No.
There couldn't have been.
No.
Right?
There wasn't any education from the advisor coach to the advisor on those things.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, sure. And they're paying for the
advisor called the home office of the life insurance company, conveyed financial information about the client to the home office staff member, and out of that conversation came an illustration with a premium number and some sort of quote unquote design, although design conveys too much intentionality. But yeah. And I'm like, why?
And people wonder, people question the integrity of life insurance agents.
I know. Well, and this particular person was remorseful about the state of... I mean, that was one of the reasons this individual contacted me, was to essentially get validation or a rationale for why all that needed to be stopped.
Oh, okay.
And because
they knew
something was going wrong. Yeah. And I'm like, I would stop everything now.
It's okay to follow your instincts.
Yeah. But okay, so that kind of mentality, that kind of attitude in the business is out there. And so now we're going to automate it. I mean, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? And I've been very pleased with it's like really been gratifying, the feedback on my whole life insurance mechanic series. I mean, that's 8 hours of like pretty rigorous step-by-step analysis of like an underlying philosophy that might motivate policy design. And that's like a starting point, right?
Yeah.
Then we talk. And you're going to automate that?
You can't.
Come on.
It's I've said it many times. I'll continue to say it. Nelson's book, Becoming Your Own Banker, his second book, Building Your Warehouse of Wealth. And I know there's a book coming out every week, right? We'll get to that though. How Privatized Banking Really Works, Dr. Robert Murphy and Carlos Lara. And they've done other works. Nelson's 6.5-hour video is available on DVD. Yes, it's a piece of plastic that you stick into a machine. I get it. I know it's 2023. It's also accessible digitally. Okay. And it's almost, to me, it's like precious metals. I mean, do I want to own them or do I just want the paper? I don't want the access. The paper gives me access. Or do I want to own them? I want to own them, right? I'm not a gamer. I can go buy a game set. I mean, I can get a DVD to play. I'm just saying. Okay. And then the Banking with Live DVD, which is 10-year anniversary this year, which was a 100-year anniversary of the Federal Reserve. And so I get it. It's dated. Oh, well, so is the Federal Reserve. What's changed? Not much. Okay. Your work, right? Our 5-part book review. The 100 and something hours at no cost on YouTube, in depth, on purpose, not, 1 second, 15 second, 20, and all of that content, right? All of that material is available because you got to buy you got to buy their books, right? You got to pay for that 6.5 hour. All of that it's got to be under $500. I know it is. Wait, $300 tops. So why wouldn't an agent or an advisor or a consumer, instead of in the agent advisor's perspective, paying the expert guru, right? That I promise you charges more than $350
thousands of dollars a month, a year. Yeah.
And then the consumer, instead of buying these online series, educational, free downloads, $19.99, but we're going to discount it today for $29.99 if you sign up today. Whatever. I don't know how they price them, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Why wouldn't you, the consumer, someone who's genuinely interested in learning more about the infinite banking concept, why wouldn't you spend $300 in, 10 hours educating yourself from the source? I mean, why? I don't understand that. I know that you're busy, I'm busy, your schedule's full, my schedule's full. I get it. But if you're going to, pay premium or put capital, your money, your capital that you've exchanged your time for, right? Taking away from your family and all the other things that you like to do to work to generate this capital, this revenue, this income, that capital, right? That means something to you. Why wouldn't you spend the time? I don't get it.
Well, I want to. It's.
I didn't mean to throw you off.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
The point of all of that before was to come back to the value of a competent advisory conversation, and I think that's where the emphasis should be when we talk about how to go and start this stuff. Right?
And if the agent or the advisor hadn't done what I just went through, I don't believe they can be competent.
Then how in the world are they going to have the conversation?
They can't. Yeah. But they can sell you a life insurance policy 1090.
Right.
Or 80/20. And if you just, tell me what kind of premium you want to pay, I mean, that's just beyond ridiculously dumbed down. It's just commoditized. I mean, I don't even know what the proper word is.
Yeah, there's just such power in like a proper reframing of things. One thing I like to do with clients is, after we go through our process and we figure out what an appropriate premium will be, is just to tell them what that premium is in terms of their income, like in percentage terms. Like, okay, so it's about 28% of annual gross cash flows. I mean, that's, average annual savings rate in the U.S. is like 3 or 4%. So 28 is an improvement.
28, right? Yeah. That's like, yeah.
It just, and then there's always silence on the other end of the phone. It's like, oh, you kind of understand the magnitude of what this can do for people. It's like you've learned about proper capitalization. You've learned about the power of taking ownership and control over the banking function. And the result of that is you're going to change a quarter or a third or more of the direction of your cash flows every year. And you're going to do that every year. And if you're thinking long range, you're going to do it every year for a long time. That's going to have an impact. And I mean, not only is cash value growth compounded, but the transformation in thinking compounds on itself. I mean, and then you see because one thing that I know people who want to get to the bottom of it on IBC online, what do I use the policy loans for? And you get to a point where, because I have clients who use policy loans for things that I would never even think of. And perfect. This gets into the idea of capital and opportunity, which I'll expand on more at the Think Tank talk. It's like, for me to tell you what you should be investing in is awfully presumptive. I have very little time with people as it is, though we spend more time than I think happens in certain like the online automated context, but we have some hours. But I don't know like what lights a fire in you, like what's your passion or hobby is, or what you used to do as a kid that you really enjoy. Like so many times, and I told you this little quip, if we're going to think about investment or entrepreneurial opportunity, someone ought to look in the mirror before they look online.
No question.
And
I love it too, because it's true.
Because
what do you want to invest in? Go look in the mirror.
There you go.
What should you invest in? Go look in the mirror.
And how's that work, or what's that look like? Well, the answer to that shouldn't be clear right away. If it was, you'd already be doing it. So the fact that it's not indicates there's some progress to be made. And isn't that what we would want? Like a path to travel down that we haven't traveled down yet? It's like, yes. Well, okay, what in the financial world, what's required to, finance a hobby into an entrepreneurial business? It's capital. Well, how do we? Okay, well, that's what the infinite banking concept is doing, is giving you the infrastructure to build the capital to go and do that thing. In writing this book manuscript, I've went through a portion on like late life passive cash flow, and I just got into thinking about the idea of outsourcing reliance, outsourcing our independence really to like an employer, to expect the employer or to expect a third party institution to provide the retirement plan. Like, I'm going to give over some money every year and some other party is going to take care of it. And I don't really need to investigate or even know what's going on. And all that's going to work out such that I can rely on a cash flow from the age I'm 65 to 100. It's like, are we thinking through that? Like that is not going to work. And it doesn't work. That's why most people who have tax qualified plans take their early distributions and then end up with pennies on the dollar when it actually comes time to provide for passive cash flow. And it breaks my heart when I've got people who are in their mid to late 50s, early 60s, who are like, yeah, I'm going to work for 2 more years. Right? I'm going to take my early retirement because I hate my job. Fine, fair enough. I could understand why some people would hate their jobs, right? So I'm only going to suffer through this for a short period of time, and then I'm going to retire. And I'm like, on what?
Right.
Is it the government check, the Social Security that we're gonna retire? Is it family? I mean, where's that money coming from? Reminds me of these people.
Passive real estate.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I'm gonna go become a real estate investor at 59. Okay. Dude. I mean, maybe. Don't let me doubt anybody, but statistically, it reminds me of these folks in California who, there was $1 million saved up, and a million's a lot more than what a lot of people have.
California?
It's exactly, right? And you can think of cost of living and taxes, and it's like, yeah, we want to, not even 60. Yeah, we want to retire. And we want to be in a position where we can travel for 2 months out of the year, every year.
Me too.
And I'm like, on what money?
Yeah. That reminds me of the online marketers. I retired at 31. Really?
I see that. Like, oh yeah, I'm retired. Like, I don't know if they know what that word means. I mean, I've had this conversation with you. So I don't know if sometimes if people understand the words that are coming out of their mouths. Like, the recruiter, the life insurance recruiter who wants to contact
I've been waiting for this. Wait.
This life insurance recruiter.
We're talking about a marketing organization, like an insurance agency or an IMO, an independent marketing organization, or an FMO, a field marketing organization. And look, the life insurance companies can own these things. The stock companies, all those IULs. Anyway, they own a lot of them. Okay, I'm just giving a little background for these aggressive recruiters.
So he fills out my contact form on the website. And my assistant, God bless her, she put him on the calendar. And I'm like, well, learning opportunity for the future. But this initial...
Please, recruiter.
But this guy says,
oh my gosh. Okay.
He's like, you haven't met me before, but I'm a managing director at such and such place that represents such and such company. And we're very aligned with the IBC. In fact, we are the premier company for the concept. And it appears as though you are not currently appointed with us. So he wants to get in touch to fix it. And I'm like, and maybe I'm just too sensitive. I could be too sensitive. But you're going to tell me that you're the premier company? I mean, you think I know the company, but he's going to come in and inform me and, ostensibly expecting to recruit me. So, hey, dum-dum, I know you've been in this business for 5 years, but if you didn't know, now you do. We're actually the best company.
Let me help you out.
So it turns out that you're just not appointed with us yet. And it's like, why would you think that approach would be successful? I don't.
Maybe it has been successful for him.
Well, not my brand of success. Jeez. Anyway, some of the things these people say, it's like, I don't know if you know what you're implying. Like,
so he researched you just long enough to know that you didn't have a contract, with his company here.
And on my little form, I've got what have you done? Like, what's your experience with the IBC?
Oh, okay.
Have you watched my series? Have you read Nelson's books?
Oh, okay.
Have you watched the DVD? Do you own Whole Life? Are you an advisor? Like, different things you have to check. He checks, I own Whole Life. There's a box that says, I've read Becoming Your Own Banker. Didn't check that one. There's a box that says, watch the Whole Life Insurance Mechanic series. Didn't check that one. There's a box that says, watch the Banking with Life podcast. Didn't check that one. So premier company for IBC, managing director, wants to recruit me. The premier for IBC hasn't read the book, but it's like,
I don't want to assume too much, how the individual is, but maybe he's older than you and he wants to help your young self to get educated. I don't know. To let you know what the premier company is and question maybe, how in the world can you be in the industry and not know all this already?
Yeah, I'm just so stupid. I'm going to send him my hour-long lecture on non-direct versus direct recognition so that he can consider that with respect to his premier company.
Ask him what the first year load of the PUA is. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
What the flexibility. Or if they offer any level term, or if we got to use blended, annually renewing term every year.
One of them better stay on there a long time. It's a fine company.
Yeah, as long as you don't take any loans, do anything.
Well, you can own the company for like 20 years or 55 or 60 or something like that, and then it becomes a non-direct recognition.
Oh, then you can switch it over. Yeah.
But if we're talking about the infinite banking concept, I mean, that implies that we are going to leverage the policy. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll do my banking in 30 years from now.
Or please go capitalize. And I kind of I mention it every now and then. It's like, take that, premier policy issued by premier company to a third party lender so you can get a lesser loan rate and receive a full dividend. Oh yeah, just take it to a line of credit, a life insurance, a LELOC, a LILOC, a HELOC. They create names and terms for these arrangements almost daily. So
to go do business with banks.
Absolutely. And now let me ask you this.
Blatant violation of couldn't be more clear.
But they're premier in the IBC world. We even have the banking relationships. And no, HELOC, do I get, I'm not saying me, but would that particular individual, would that be just another revenue stream for them? I'm just asking. I don't know.
Of course.
And please, pray tell, what are interest rates doing right now? So I've collateralized my policy, not partially, fully, for a line of credit. And you tell me what a line of credit is today, even for an accredited investor. And don't give me all that, this is a non-recourse loan. Yeah. They're out there, but you don't own them. Neither do I. Okay. What is interest rate? I talked to an individual just a couple of weeks ago. Purchased a lot of equipment. 4 or 5 separate pieces of equipment. Right. An accredited investor and, sign and drive kind of loans, 8 and 9%. Oh, okay. So why would I go leverage my, one of the most valuable assets that I would ever own, my life insurance policy, to a third party lender?
Well, and then on that topic, and you brought this up, I just love this because what happens at scale? Maybe it's not a $50,000 line of credit. What if it's a $500,000 line of credit?
Yeah.
What if it's $5 million?
What if I did what if I did, premium financing at those levels too? So I don't. Okay, keep going, please.
And because one of the pitches is that, we'll just make it so convenient for you. Give you a little piece of plastic, open up your line of credit, collateralized policy. It's so easy, so convenient. Yeah. What happens at convenience is we add zeros to that number. Because I'm willing to bet that there's going to be some recurring audits, maybe some inspection, maybe some inspection as to my ability to repay the money that I owe as that line of credit increases.
Well, let me see. Would that line of credit increase automatically with the increase in your cash value? Or do you have to go and, roll up your sleeve and show them your tattooed? No, we don't have that anymore. Show them your credit score to increase the line of credit. I'm just asking.
To go back and ask for more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because your contract, if you're paying a premium, is going up on a guaranteed basis.
This occurred to me too. What happens? You do that. You build up an indebtedness on this line of credit. Let's say you're down the line in the policy, right? You got cash value exceeds cost basis. And that policy is collateralized with a commercial banker in your line of credit. And for whatever reason, you fall out of favor. Banker determines that you've violated the terms of that agreement. Indebtedness gets transitioned over into a note.
Or demanded, right? Yeah. It's like called right now.
And that doesn't work for whatever reason. You're illiquid. You got the money, but can't pay it right now. Whatever. And the bank decides to seize and liquidate that policy when the cash value exceeds the cost basis. Wouldn't that result in a taxable event to the policy owner?
What? Yeah. Oh, wait, you're still the owner. You just assigned it. Dang. Yeah. Oh, you mean a third party lender's not going to accept any liability tax consequence when it comes to taxes? Yeah, thank you. Well, let me just say that, look, you lender, third party lender, banker, if you have assets, if you seize these policies, these cash value policies issued by mutual companies, if you seize those and you want more than what you can get from the life insurance company on those, just give me a call, right? I mean, it's not good for any individual to sell their policy.
Yeah.
That's a whole
Many bad things have already happened by that point.
Yeah, and it's just worse, right? It's not good for you ever. The life insurance companies consider selling your mortality. You're not likely to get more coverage. I'm just saying, maybe you're a Dave Ramsey fan. Maybe you're a buy term and invest the difference recruit of whomever, right? Because he sure is not original. And you own that dirty old whole life policy issued by a mutual company, and your cash value is 10, 20, 15 or pennies, whatever it is. And you want to get rid of that. Generally it takes about 30 days to surrender a policy and get your cash values. I can write a check today. Okay, so if you legitimately have a life insurance policy issued by a mutual company that I don't have a relationship with, right? I'm not going to violate my agreements. And you want to, get rid of that nasty old thing, trash value, life insurance, whatever, call me. Connect with me. Send me an email, James@Bankwithlife. And I'm just going to tell you right up front that it's not good for you, right? It is not good, but you hate it anyway.
Yeah.
So I am not kidding. I mean, I'm just not. Anyway, so you're going to keep your appointment with the guy that your assistant inadvertently, scheduled for you?
It's not gonna. What would that accomplish?
Obviously, he can educate you, on the premier company in IBC. I wonder, are they going to be at the think tank? Because they're, between our talks, there's going to be life insurance.
I think the answer is no.
Oh my gosh! But they're the premier.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's a no.
I think it's a no.
It's a no.
Yeah.
Right. So they self-proclaiming premier. right? Going to the Nelson Nash Institute, the center of the infinite banking concept, right? But they're not going to be there, but they're the premier company. Wow, it's funny how it's just because you say something, you assume or expect everybody to believe you. How, OMG. And no wonder people don't like life insurance agents. And I refrain from using the word professional in that case.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
Yeah. But that's just one blemish on the experience so far in these first 2 weeks this year. It's been hit the ground running, man. It's been a grind, which is great. I'm not complaining.
What we kind of experience is like, and me too, right? I tried my best, like somewhere about mid-December, been going all year long hard. And it's like, you know what? I'll do that in January. I think a lot of people have,
it comes in waves. And you told me this very early on. It comes in waves, and it does. I mean, it's like you could put it on a lunar calendar or something. I mean, it just comes in waves, and yeah, it's all good.
All right, what else, sir? I mean, I've got to eat, and obviously you got to buy new clothes. They're hanging off of you.
I know. My book will come out later this year. People are asking me about that.
I don't even get to read the transcript yet. I mean, I feel a little bit left out. Even Nelson let me read his transcript.
You get like literally first in line access to whatever you want.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I can read through even typos, It's like, I'm okay with that. I appreciate that.
There's especially one chapter that I want you to read closely.
Well, I'm excited. That'll be, and that's, I don't really like to make New Year's resolutions. I don't do that, but I am going to read more. I'm going to carve out time to read more. My reading has fallen off more than I'm comfortable with.
Do you do audiobooks?
Sir?
Do you do audiobooks?
Yes, I have Audible, but I can't get past a podcast. I mean, I listen. All I do is at night is listen. And the things that I listen to, they're banned, they're burned, they're unavailable. So yes, I do, but I do have some. I have Audible, and I do listen to some books on Audible.
Yeah.
Is yours going to be on Audible?
I'm going to narrate it.
You're going to narrate it?
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole nother work.
Just reading it. I mean, once it's all done, I just read it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it'll take like however long. It's longer. The manuscript's longer than I thought it would, and the publisher's going to charge me more money to do it.
For the lead.
But
charge you extra for the big words in there, Mr. Griggs.
I was telling somebody in the business about it, and like you said earlier, there's a new book every week, and we all kind of brace for it. It's like, because it's always marketing copy bound to look like a book, and this is just not that.
I had a client tell me that the other day. He's like, I really appreciate your content. It's audible, visual. And he's like, are you going to write a book, James? And I said, yes, I may wind up writing a couple, but he's like, I read everything I can. And most of the books on the infinite banking concept are nothing but glorified marketing pamphlets.
Yeah. And sometimes people say, they tell me what they've watched or read, and they'll mention a few certain things. And I'm like, well, it's good to have a breadth of exposure, I suppose.
Yep.
Because some of this is marketing stuff. And because I've ordered and read a lot of, read is maybe too strong a word. I've looked through many of them, and it's like,
you've skimmed them.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. I was born that way.
Yeah. Okay. Let me say, whenever you're ready and available, be happy to set it, do whatever to get it done.
All right. I appreciate that. I really do, because I do. I don't know that you can write the way I speak. I mean, for me, you know what I'm saying?
Figure it out. It'd be a learning
it's like,
process.
You're academic, intellectual, and God love you. I do. I mean, and I'm like, barely speak plain English, proper English. I can speak plain English, barely speak proper English.
Well, certain words have to be written a certain way when they're written. Like, it's got to.
I get, commas and, periods. I mean, I get sentence structure, but.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes I find myself being a wordsmith just doing an email. It's like,
yeah.
So I can torture myself.
We could figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, listen. I've had fun. This is the first episode we've recorded this year, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we're not too far into the year, but I've enjoyed it. So thanks for driving down here.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you for listening. Be free. All right.
See y'all.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Banking with Life podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and click on that little notification bell. Otherwise, join us on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher for weekly content.